Introducing the Practical IPA Chart by Professor Levier for IBC Learning. In English, what you see is not always what you say. A is not always A. And I is not always I. So how do you know which is which? Why is the A in hat different from the A in hate? How about the U in cut and the U in cute? There is a pronunciation rule that says, in a syllable, when a vowel is in front of a consonant, like A, in front of T, in hat, its short sound is used, and that is the sound vowels make when they are alone. When the vowel ends the syllable, or precedes a silent E, like the A, in hate, its long sound is used, and that is their names, like in the alphabet, just like the ABC song. Don't worry, we have all the rules for you in other videos. How about the I in little and the I in title? It is because the first syllable in little is lit, pronounced lit, and the second one is tle. But in title, the first syllable is ti, pronounced tie, and the second one is tle. Why is the E in men is so different from the E in meme? It's thanks to the syllable separation rule. The problem, however, seems to be the I in mine and the I in machine. That should not be a problem at all. It is because English borrowed machine from French and tries to keep the original pronunciation. There is also the I in vine and the I in determine. They seem to violate the previous rules. The truth is, once the pronunciation of a word is known, no rule is necessary. Just like for native speakers. Finally, the pronunciation of E next to A seems to violate the pronunciation rule that says, when two vowels go together, only the first one makes its long or alphabet sound. Well, it's more practical to learn where EA is pronounced as in eat and when it is pronounced as in bread. So, do you want to only eat bread and steak with me today? If you can overcome these little hurdles, English will be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Believe me. Before we look at our practical IPA, we must first define a couple of key terms. What is a word? A word is the smallest unit in a language with a meaning. What is a syllable? A syllable is a meaningless fragment of a word, made up of a non-silent vowel, or a vowel, plus one or more consonants. For example, the word idea has 3 syllables. The first one is I, the second one is de, and the third one is a, which give us idea. Therefore, silly has 2 syllables. The first one is sil, and the second one is ly. However, fine has only 1 syllable because the E is silent. We must define 3 more terms: phoneme, grapheme, and digraph. What is a phoneme? A phoneme is the smallest meaningless unit of sound in languages. The phoneme for M makes the sound of the letter M. What is a grapheme? Graphemes are letters, or groups of letters that produce a specific sound. The combined letters, N and G, make a single sound. These letters, therefore, should never be separated when isolating syllables in a word. They are viewed as one single unit. The same is true for digraphs. What is a digraph? A digraph is a particular grapheme that is made up of only 2 letters to also produce one sound. PH, CH, and EY make all a single sound respectively. Another concept we need to visit to show you why understanding the IPA chart is essential to improving your hearing and speaking in English is Bloom's taxonomy. Taxonomy is a fancy term that means classification. In 1956, Benjamin Bloom and his team developed a classification of learning that includes 6 major categories of learning, which are, in order of importance, the ability to remember what is learned, understand it, apply it, analyze it, evaluate it, and the highest level of learning, being able to use what is learned to create. We have adapted Bloom's taxonomy to map English proficiency levels. So, what is your true English proficiency level? At the lowest proficiency level, you will have a substantial set of words that you understand. Then, as you begin to climb to the highest level of learning, you will be comfortable enough to perform exercises applying these newly acquired words. On the one hand, if you know the phonetic structure of the language, through IPA or years of practice, and on the other hand, if you know enough of the sentence structures of the language, through grammar, you will be able to analyze spoken or written speech and perform some level of transliteration using your own native language. At the next level of learning, you will be comfortable enough to evaluate and even transcribe what you hear or read. Finally, at a near-native level of proficiency, you will be able to create, in speech or writing, with academic certainty, as if you were born speaking English. And that's our ultimate goal for anyone willing to take the time to really learn English and speak or write it like a native. We offer you here a screenshot of an application developed by the British Council that we use with our students as a model of the traditional IPA chart. We hope we have convinced you of the importance of knowing the English IPA chart. Let's dive in. If you think that the IPA chart was created by English speakers to make learning English easier, you are wrong. The International Phonetic Alphabet was created in 1888 by a French linguist, with the help of his team, named Paul Passy, but he used a phonetic script for English created in 1847 by Isaac Pitman and Henry Ellis as the model for the IPA. It was used to teach pronunciation to students. There, it's done. Linguists can have fun with it, but in its simplest form, it was created to contribute to your ability to speak and hear English. I don't understand why a teacher or learner wouldn't use such an effective tool. In the traditional IPA chart, the position of the phonemes for the vowels have a specific meaning. The rows indicate how open your mouth should be, and the columns, where your tongue should be when pronouncing that vowel phoneme. Try saying a row or a column of vowel phonemes and observe how closed your mouth is and where your tongue is in your mouth when you are saying them. For the consonants, the only thing worth noticed is the paired consonants. They are paired because their pronunciations are close enough to confuse learners of English as a second language and even native speakers at times. In the last row for the unpaired consonants, 3 letters cause difficulties to French learners. H, which is harder in English, R, which requires an unusual positioning of the mouth, and the L, which requires an unusual positioning of the tongue. Introducing IBC's Practical IPA Chart. After 20 years of experience of teaching using the traditional IPA chart, we have come up with a more practical version. We did not see any academic purpose to distinguish the 20 vowel sounds and therefore, colored all their phonemes in red. We kept the paired consonants but colored the unvoiced ones in light blue and the voiced ones in dark blue. Remember, when you say the sound of an unvoiced consonant, there is little to no vibration in your throat. When you say the sound for a voiced consonant, there is a distinct vibration. Try it, and you'll find out. Finally, we have colored the unvoiced consonant in gray. Moreover, we have added a number to identify each phoneme because none of them has a specific name except the mighty schwa, which happens to be the most used sound in English. In summary, our Practical IPA table has 20 vowel phonemes in red, 8 voiceless or unvoiced consonants in light blue, 8 voiced consonants in dark blue, with the 2 groups combined making up the 8 paired consonants, for a total of 16 consonants, and finally 8 unvoiced consonants in gray, giving us 44 phonemes for the English language. Let's take a look at the 20 vowel sounds of the English language. Here's an interesting thing to know. To put it plainly, in English, no vowel, no syllable. That's why the word fine has 1 syllable, because the E is silent. Another thing to note in English is that a vowel can be considered a syllable even without a consonant, which is not so common in French and Spanish. For example, idea has 3 syllables, I, D, and ya. Also note that there is an invisible sound of Y, or W, that is usually put between 2 vowels that are used as syllables. We call them vowel syllables. So when there are 2 vowel syllables that are next to each other in a word, there is a very quick W or Y sound we hear between the vowels. For example, we say idea by adding an invisible Y between E and A. And we say situation by adding an invisible W between the vowel syllable U and A. Now, there's no real academic need to know this info other than for observation purposes. One last observation on the 20 vowel sounds in English. The American IPA uses only 16 vowel sounds compared to 20 for the British IPA. The Americans have deleted phonemes 11, 13, 14, and 15, as indicated in our Practical IPA chart. Now let's look at the 8 paired consonants. We did not modify the traditional IPA table, except by adding numbers to each phoneme. Out of a total of 16 consonant phonemes, we put 8 pairs together to highlight the similarity of their sounds. These sounds are so similar that even native speakers usually say T as in Tom and D as in dog to avoid any confusion. Therefore, as a learner of English as a second language, you need to train your ears to distinguish these 8 consonant pairs. Note that phoneme number 26 is the symbol for the letter J, as in jazz, but the symbol IPA, represented by the letter J, is pronounced as the 44th phoneme in the IPA chart and is pronounced like the Y in yo-yo. Do not confuse them. As soon as a letter or symbol is between 2 forward slashes, you can consider it an IPA symbol and should only pronounce its sound. In the phoneme pair 31 and 32, usually represented in the alphabet by the letters TH, note that number 31 lets air pass through the teeth for its sound, while 32 is pronounced closer to a very soft letter D. For example, for 31 you have thin, or with, and for 32, you have then, or mother. The phonemes 33 to 34 and 35 to 36 are very close in sound, except for a Z sound that distinguishes them. For the 8 unpaired consonants, colored in gray, in our Practical IPA chart, there is not much to observe, except to look at how these consonants are pronounced differently, from your own native language to English. French speakers, for example, should note that the sounds for M and N are much more nasal in English than in French. The IN in inside is slightly more nasal in English than in French. In English, the H is a full consonant and is not heard only when it is silent in words like honor, but in humor, you must pronounce the H clearly. After making the sound for L, in English, especially when it is at the end of a word, if you have said it correctly, the tip of your tongue should be turned back without touching your upper palate, as in ball, all, full, but for words like principal, table, pencil, the L produces a sound closer to a very long O. The last letter worth mentioning is R. Its sound is very peculiar in English and causes problems for French and Spanish speakers. Therefore, only practice can contribute to pronounce them in a way that is close to a native speaker.
We hope you have paid close attention to the content of this video, and will listen to it as often as you must. It is full of golden tips, acquired over 20 years of teaching English as a second language. In the words of Dr. W. Edwards Deming, best efforts will not substitute for knowledge. So we hope you use your mind to make learning English fun and easy. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment to let us know how we are doing or how we could better help you. We love English, do you? This content was created and offered to you by Dr. Les for IBC Learning on YouTube.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Welcome to IBCWAY.com, where learning English is always fun and easy.